Hey guys, Joe at B-Sharp Ottawa here today. We've been asked a lot about how we do our profiling, and today we have, as I throw it on the ground, a pair of CCMs. So lots of discussion about what the difference between profiling and contouring is. Contouring is the curve from the front to the back of your blade. So this guy here has a pair of the new CCM Hyperglides on it. They're supposed to be a 10-foot radius. I haven't actually checked them yet, so we'll do that in a little bit. But that's all part of changing a contour, again, front to back radius, into a profile. And profiling, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find your balance points, so your center, and we're gonna pull it back slightly. You're looking at your two heel and toe balance points, okay? And then what we're gonna be trying to find is the height of the steel here at the heel to the height of the steel here at the front and the front balance point. Just the biomechanics of escape, if your heel has more steel than your toe, then you're pointed forward, that's the direction you want to go. If you've got more steel here than you do at the heel, your knees are going to lock. And then you're going to have a kid with their butt stuck out, and then you're going to see them lean forward to try to actually get onto the toes so that they can actually start doing a progressive, forward movement. When you're slightly further forward on your toes, as soon as you start to bend to move forward, your toes automatically open, you get into that stance and you start to skate. So that's what we want. We want more acceleration. We want better placement on the ice. What we're gonna be doing with these guys is a 9-foot to a 10-foot dual radius. So they'll have 9 foot approximately here. They're gonna have 10 on the heel. So as you do a quick start while you're on your toes, you've got the smaller blade radius on the ice. So you get a quicker start. So you get to acceleration to your top speed as quick as possible. On the back, you're gonna have a 10-foot radius. The 10-foot radius at the back is because as your foot hits the ice, as you're striking with your heel, you've got more blade on the ice, more glide, you sit on top of the ice, you get a little bit more speed. And then when you're pivoting, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. As you're turning, you're kind of hitting in the middle, and you're gonna be able to pivot or turn and do what you need to do. But that's why we do a 9-foot to 10-foot dual radius, okay? So you get better acceleration, and then you get better glide. Anyway, so we're gonna go through this. I'm using the Blade Master radius system here. So what we do is we just put it on the heel and then clamp it in the toe, and we're checking where all the 3 points are in the middle. If you have a larger skate, this just pulls up and changes the direction. The other thing that we use, depending on how complicated you need it to go, is we use the FG for Fleming Gray MDF body balance series. It's basically the same thing. It's just a little bit more work. So if we have something that's buried, we can also use that. Blade Master is just, for the most part, just a quicker setup. So, me being a little bit OCD, I use, as we tip this forward here, I use a red pen to mark. That way I can see what I'm doing. So 1, 2, 3 lines. From here, what I want to do is I want to extend them so I can actually see them on the ice. Or on the ice, on the blade while I'm grinding. Second blade. 1, 2, 3. Same thing here. So we're gonna extend 2, 3. And if I can bring it in here, you'll see slightly here, you've got 1 mark. There's our center balance point, and then there is the heel, okay? So we got all 3 of those guys. So, you'll see a lot of guys just mark that with black. And that's all they're gonna do. A lot of the bigger stores, the box stores are gonna say, hey, we profiled your skates. You see the 3 marks, you assume that they've done something. Well, if you had 20 millimeters of steel here, and you had 40 millimeters of steel here, and this is a really bad example, and that's why I'm doing it with those numbers, your kid's skating basically up a hill. If you throw it in a machine and they don't check your actual math of where your blade is, nothing's been changed. They've just changed the contour. So what we're going to do is the math. So I'm going to check your heel height. You've got 18 millimeters of steel here. 15, and we've got 15 here, and 14 actually at the heel. So there's actually here, and if I bring it closer, you can see all these numbers. So there's 14 millimeters of steel here. and we slide it up to the toe, there's 15 millimeters of steel here. Okay, so what I want to be doing with the dual radius is I want there to be less steel on the heel or on the toe than there on the heel. So what I want to do is I want to bring this 14 to 13.5 up here. So we're actually taking 1.5 millimeters off the toe. And now I use a different colored pen so I know what I'm actually grinding off. So I use a blue here. I also find, and this is over years of experience, I find that if I use the red again and mark that line, the red under not very much heat at all just actually evaporates right off the blade. So I use blue. Blue seems to work pretty well. So now this one, do the same thing. So this is 14 here, 15 again. So we want to go to 13.5. So same thing. So if we can get it to show on the camera, these lovely Hyperglides are shiny. So there you go. So that is what I'm going to take off. So I'm going to remove that much steel off the toe of these skates. Okay? So now for the next part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you guys over here. And hey guys, everybody that's joining. Okay, so we're all set up on this side. So this is, if you can read it, it's the 9 foot on the toe, it's 10 foot on the heel. So this is my 9 foot to 10 foot dual radius bar. Open up our holder, throw in the skate. So what I'm doing here, on this holder there's a center line, and I'm not sure that you guys can see it from where you are, but there's a center line here. And what we're going to do is we're going to match this red line in the center up with that red line, or with that little line here, so that we know that the skate is in the middle. Done. Clamp it down. We're going to push it in. Now, my system is a little bit backwards than most because I'm pushing my holder against the steel bar, where Blade Masters and Blackstones are back here, and you're kind of pulling it almost away. So what I want to do is push my wheel here actually moves on this table. We're going to push that away from the blade, and then we're going to lock this here. So what we're trying to do is make sure that there's a gap between this blade, this cutting stone, and this steel, so that when we get, so this distance here is actually the distance, so exactly when this touches, so that when we're done grinding to make this blue line go away, then we're just touching that red line. And so right now, we're actually a little bit close. So we're going to back this off slightly more, tilt this in. So my system's cammed here. So this changes, pushes and moves the toe in and out, and it pivots around a bearing on the heel here. So you can hear it just touching as we're passing that front line. Okay, so now for all the equipment. So I'm going to throw on my glasses, and it's going to get loud. if you're still with me here. What we're trying to do, and I'll pull this back slightly, so sorry for spinning you around. As you can see, the blue is gone off that. And back here at the heel, as I roll this way, you can see that I'm just past where that grind line is. So what I've done is I've ground the toe down to the height that I wanted it to, just as I passed that heel line. Okay, so that's what we want to do. We want to be grinding between here and there. Okay, well, there you go, guys. I'll come back with another little bit of a video here in a second.